We need our food fast. That's the real appeal of Chinese food. Yeah. But Chinese food almost comes too quickly. You're like, yeah, I will have. Oh, there it is. How'd you know I even wanted that? Fastest to prepare, slowest to eat. I prefer the Chinese restaurants that have the silverware on the table when you arrive, because there's nothing more humiliating than starting with chopsticks and having to turn to the waiter and be like, yeah, hi, I'm too white. Do you have a shovel back there? I wish I like seafood. I do. I live near Chinatown in New York, because I'm Chinese. And like most Chinatowns, a lot of the restaurants in Chinatown have live seafood tanks in the windows, and I'm always like, do you want us to come in there, or are these sea monsters protecting your establishment? Because I am scared. And I love Chinese food, and I love the Chinese culture, and I'm not just saying that because we're all going to be working for them in 6 months. The Chinese have an amazing culture. They do. 3,000 years ago, they were doing brain surgery in China, yet they still haven't figured out dessert. You ever go to a Chinese restaurant? I'm not talking about the fancy Chinese restaurant that has the tea ice cream that tastes like a pack of menthol cigarettes. I'm talking about a regular Chinese restaurant where the dessert options, there's two, right? There's sliced oranges. Whoa. I don't want to overwork the kitchen. Oranges? What, did a schooner just arrive from the Caribbean? Looks like our scurvy's cured, fellas. There's sliced oranges, or there's the fortune cookie, which is not even a Chinese thing. It's an American thing, and we gave it to them, and they're like, we don't want it. And we were like, it's now part of your ethnic identity. Don't you feel like every fortune cookie should be, you are about to eat a stale cookie? Hey, my fortune came true! Everyone has the same reaction to fortune cookies. So I was like, these things are so stupid. What does mine say? Like there's some ancient wisdom in there, as if Confucius himself was putting a tiny piece of paper into a tiny typewriter. Happiness is a long journey. 15, 31, 12. Put this in a stale cookie for me, would you? It's like they wait for them to be stale. How old are these, 1990? Let's wait a little longer. I do feel sorry for the person who created the cookie that ended up being the fortune cookie, because they were probably pretty proud. They're like, hey, you gotta try my new cookie. Tell me what you think of it. Try my new cookie. Tell me what you think. All right, I'll try it. Here you go. Oh. You know what this could use is some paper. Oh, this would be good for holding a note or a recipe for a good cookie. How much do you think I could charge for it? I'd get away with a check. You got a spit bucket around here? Did some shows in China, all in Chinese, picked it up at the Y. It's not that hard. It wasn't that complicated. You visit some places and you think, all right, there's a language barrier, but I could get by. In China, I was like, oh, if I got lost, I would die here. I wouldn't last a half a day. Everyone's looking at me like I'm a ghost anyway. The Chinese were very nice. They were fascinated with my pale blonde children. Many of them wanted pictures with my kids. They didn't really ask, they just grabbed a kid. Can I have a picture with this one? I guess you're gonna. And when they were done with the picture, they would rub my blonde kid's head, because, you know, they're my kids, but they're also lucky objects. And after this happened a couple times, I was like, hey, we should charge, right? China was fascinating and exhausting. I brought my kids to the Great Wall. We saw the terracotta warriors. We walked through the Forbidden City. We rode in a rickshaw. And when we were leaving, I asked my 5-year-old, I said, what was your favorite part of China? And he said, I like that time we saw the truck with the pigs on it. Because at one point we were stuck in traffic and this truck pulled up and it had pigs in cages. And that was his favorite part. After the 15-hour flight. And I remember when that truck pulled up, because I remember looking at those pigs and feeling sorry for them, but those pigs looked happy. It was almost like the pigs were looking at me and my 5 screaming kids going, well, at least we're not that slob. I've been on tour through Asia for 2 weeks. I went to 9 cities and 6 countries. It's been amazing. And I've loved every moment of it, even walking around Tiananmen Square and seeing all the Chinese look at me like I was a circus animal. What is that? I too am human. Really? Kind of. I've loved Asia. I wish I was Asian, but I can't get in that kind of shape. I mean, look at me. I don't know how you Asians do it. It doesn't make sense. What if we only ate rice and never gained weight? Let's do that. That probably sounds racist because, well, looking like this, everything sounds racist. You know, it comes with the skin complexion. But I love it. I always try and sample the local food when I visit all these different countries. In Taiwan, I had a tea egg, which is essentially a hard-boiled egg that's cooked in tea. And now that might sound gross, but it was. It was very gross. But it was the best alternative. I was with my friend. She was like, you can either have the tea egg or you can have a 1,000-year-old egg. And I was like, well, I can think of like 1,000 reasons not to have the 1,000-year egg. So I started eating the tea egg, I bit in, and the yolk was green. And it wasn't St. Patrick's Day or anything. And I was like, this is, you know, because, you know, like some food when it turns green, I don't know, that's concerning. That's when you usually stop. I looked around, everyone was continuing to eat their tea egg, and I was like, you know what, Taiwan, they got good medical here. So I ate it. But I love Taiwan, very complex. Every Asian country, obviously very complex and unique, but like there's mysteries in all of them, right? You know, like in Taiwan, you know, they are Chinese people, but the country is called the Republic of China, but it's not China. And they get angry there. This isn't China, we're Taiwan, and we're Chinese. And you're like, okay, that sounds good. Taiwan, I had a soup dumpling for the first time. Now, when I heard that, they were like, we're gonna get soup dumpling. And I'm like, great, all right. I thought that was like soup with dumplings in it. Nope. It's a dumpling with soup in it. Because, you know, I think we were tired with eating soup a normal way. Right? You know, it's like, well, how exhausting was that? Soup dumpling, which I don't know who that's for. You know, it's like, do you like dumplings and also burning your mouth? Because then you're gonna love our soup dumpling. I don't even think that was the initial idea. Like I think the person was given a different assignment, and like the boss came back and he was like, I did it, I put all the soup in the dumplings. If your dad didn't own this company, that's not what I asked for. Okay, then you're not gonna like the cottage cheese and the water balloon either. No, I don't think so. Probably the most disgusting food item I've tried in Asia is the stinky tofu, which is, you know, sure, you know, it's not for everyone. It's like you have to really like tofu and enjoy the smell of a public restroom. First of all, calling it stinky tofu is like probably the biggest undersell I've ever seen. That's not stinky. That is like, it's not, stinky doesn't make you gag. I don't know. And they're like, it's like fried tofu. I'm like, fried in what? Diarrhea? Jim, that's disgusting. That is truly disgusting. Still getting used to the Asian concept of space. It's a little different. You know, like if I'm standing here in Asia, everyone's standing like, hey, how you doing? Did we date before? Or can you put on a condom? I don't even let my wife stand this close. There's an apparent shortage of napkins in all of Asia. there is. It's just a cultural difference. You ask for napkins in Asia, and they're like so suspicious. They're like, it's like you ask for their PIN code to their credit card or something. What do you need them for? I don't know, wipe my mouth? But that's just the Asians are better at eating. You know, Westerners were just like, oh, shoot, missed my mouth again. Whereas Asians are like, I can do it with 2 sticks, better than you. You guys have a fork and you miss still.
still some debate whether a napkin is a tissue in Asia too, right? Have you noticed that? You're like, sit down at a restaurant, they give you a box of tissues. I'm like, I don't know, I don't have a cold. I was in Beijing, sat down in a restaurant, and looked to the right, there was a roll of toilet paper. How bad is the food here? You know, you're gonna need this. You're gonna need it right here at the table. Ironically, went in the bathroom, no toilet paper. Different Asian cultures, different strengths, right? You know, Korea and Thailand, amazing food. Japanese toilet, masterpiece. You know, masterpiece. I don't know if I need the heated seat. You know, I don't, you know what's comfortable? Feeling like your butt has the flu. I don't know. That's not for me. Japanese toilet, masterpiece. Chinese toilet, not there yet. Some places not there at all. Like there's doing things differently and then just going, we're not gonna have a toilet. Or we're gonna go no toilet. Sometimes there's a urinal, but not a toilet. You're like, what, didn't it show up or something? We're still waiting on those toilets, just open up. I did a show in Beijing, the day of the show, got an email. They're like, hey, just wanted to give you a heads up. There's no toilet at the venue. And I was like, well, is this an outdoor show? And it was a beautiful theater. It was like this theater, it was a beautiful theater, no toilet. Felt like a design flaw. Like the architect, they're like, hey, before you open up the theater, I forgot. Oh, shoot. I know I forgot something. They were very polite at the venue. They're like, if you really have to go, there's a hospital nearby. Talk about an emergency room. I mean, it's weird, you know, the squat toilet. That's what it's called, squat toilet, which is like no toilet. It's like, even calling it a toilet is dishonest. It's just a hole, right? That's where my adventurous, I love cultures stops. Like the whole toilet, I'm like, I'm out, you know what I mean? You know, and I was like in Beijing and I was like, you know what, I'll wait till I get to Hong Kong, you know? I'm just gonna, first of all, I don't know if I can physically do that. I don't know if I can do that, and I can't do that name, that's for sure. You know what I mean? It was just like, it was too much. And then, you know, but I've encountered that in other travels. In Istanbul, I encountered the whole toilet, and by whole, I don't mean an entire toilet, I mean like a hole. And in Istanbul, there was the hole, and then there were two huge footprints. I don't know why the footprints were there. Maybe to stop people from fishing. I don't know. And like, I don't know why the footprints were there. You're like, oh, wow, this is where Bigfoot went poop. I don't know. I had been to Beijing before. The last time I was in Beijing, there was a smog alert, so everyone was wearing the masks. You know, I was like, wow, a lot of surgeons here. And, you know, there was the masks, you know, you'll see masks for different reasons, you know, like in different countries, you know, like in China, they wear the mask because there's all the pollution. In Korea, they wear the mask because of the Chinese pollution. And in Japan, they wear the mask because they're crazy. But like, there was no smog alert this time, but last time I was there was a smog alert, and everyone in Beijing was very nice. They're like, sorry about the weather. I'm like, I don't think it's the weather. I don't think the weather is turning the sun purple. I'm just gonna go out on a limb there. So many different countries have palaces. I went to the palace here in Seoul. It was beautiful. There's different types of palaces, you know, like there's a bunch of them. In Thailand, there's a lot of palaces. In China, though, Beijing, that's like the ultimate palace because it's the forbidden city. It's like that emperor was like, you know what, how about a palace and a city? Like that's like, how do you justify that? You know, like I love my subjects, but I'm gonna need my own city. Something where people can't go in there. So I went to the Forbidden City, and then I went across town to the Summer Palace. After the Forbidden City, how do you justify the Summer Palace? Was the emperor like, you know, this Forbidden City's cool, but what about summer? And they're like, well, you have the whole city. We could do something. Yeah, but summer. They were like, would you want us to, I guess we could build you another palace. If you want to. I mean, if you're up for it. Yeah, well, what would you want? Would you want it on the coast or something? He's like, no, just there. If I could just put it over there where I could walk to it. I'd prefer to walk to my palace.
It's been a crazy year for me. Crazy year. I don't know if you know, in April, it was discovered my wife had a brain tumor. I'm not even making this up. It was removed. She's great. Everything's good. Thank you. I didn't remove it. I was in the other room soiling myself, but the tumor is gone, along with my ability to ever win another argument. It's not like I was winning a lot before, but now I'm retired. And luckily, my wife's not the type to bring it up. Well, once she did. She was like, I did have brain surgery. And I couldn't be like, yeah, that was like a month ago. It's time to move on, What about my seasonal allergies? We all have our cross to bear. It was crazy. The surgeon told me the tumor was the size of a pear, which is scary, but also confusing. I was like, did he go to med school or a farmer's market? But tumors are often compared to fruit. A pear, a lemon, a grapefruit. Interesting fact, worst tumor, grapefruit. Worst fruit, grapefruit. When you think about it, a grapefruit looks more like a tumor than a fruit. I almost feel sorry for grapefruit. Yeah, we can't win. Yeah? We're already the worst fruit, now we're compared to the worst tumor? Well, at least we help old people poop. That is the worst impression of a grapefruit ever. It's kind of unfortunate that there's another fruit that's much smaller named grape. Because there's situations in doctors' offices, we found a tumor, it's the size of a grape. Thank God I didn't finish. Grapefruit. Oh, that's very different. It was strange. When the doctor told me the tumor was the size of a pear, I thought, wow, I guess doctors are bad at analogies. But I quickly realized they're just dumbing it down for idiots like me. Like the surgeon looked at me and thought, well, this guy's not gonna understand centimeters. I don't even wanna try and explain circumference. Based on appearance, he doesn't eat fruit, but he's probably seen a pear when he's at the grocery store buying ice cream. I don't know why the surgeon sounds like Andy Rooney. Notice tumors look like fruit. By the way, if you don't know who Andy Rooney is, you're a child. And if you do know who Andy Rooney is, you should probably eat more grapefruit. Tumors compared to fruit, sometimes they're compared to balls, like a golf ball or a softball. But the surgeon looked at me and thought, I'm gonna stick with food. I got a better shot of this fat ass understanding. There is some wild stuff in the Bible, right? Like early on, God asked Abraham to sacrifice his only son. God asked Abraham to kill his only son. And Abraham, like most fathers, said, all right, I'll do it. In his defense, we don't know what Abraham was doing right before God asked him. Maybe Abraham was going through bills and was like, who spent 500 shekels on Nintendo? And then right at that moment, God was like, Abraham, I want you to sacrifice your only son. And Abraham's like, gladly. Can it be a strangle sacrifice? God was communicating with Abraham from heaven. I don't know if he was yelling down. Did anyone overhear the conversation? Like, was there anyone up there in heaven? Was Jesus up in heaven? Was God like, Abraham, I want you to sacrifice your only son? And Jesus like, Dad, what the hell are you doing? God was like, we've been through this before. Just mind your own business. Pay no attention to that bearded hippie. Abraham, I'd like you to sacrifice your only son. And Jesus like, Dad, you can't ask Abraham to sacrifice his only son. And God was like, that gives me an idea. Jesus, I'd like you to go down to earth and tell the humans I'm your dad. Jesus like, if I go down there, if I tell the humans you're my dad, they might get angry. They might hurt me. And God's like, no. Why would they do that? They seem so nice down there. She's like, all right, if I go down there and they start to hurt me, you'll stop them. And God's like, yeah, definitely, probably, maybe. Abraham was rewarded for his loyalty, right? He got to live to the age of 175. He died when he was 175, which is cool. But that was last 90 years. Yikes, right? Do you think when they were first writing down the Bible, anyone was like, wait, do we really want to put 175? I mean, we want people to read this, right? Why don't we just put 75? Yeah, that's a good run. I could see it. Mediterranean diet. I could have. 175. If you met someone today and they're like, my grandpa lived to 175, you'd be like, you're mentally ill. Could you imagine if you lived to 175? You're like, yeah, I retired at 60. I had no idea I had another 115 years to go. How much pickleball am I supposed to play? Jeez. That was Abraham's reward. He got to live to 175. He also is a founding figure of not just one religion, but 3 religions, right? Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, which is amazing. You know what's even more amazing? Those 3 religions, best buddies. They get along great, no problems. Does Abraham feel any responsibility? Does he ever look down from heaven like, yikes! I didn't do that.